Just before the police closed in on the killers of rapper Lil Ronnie and his daughter, the internet was already buzzing with speculation. A month before the murder, this rapper warned Lil Ronnie about stepping inside the very place where he would later be killed. Now, police have identified and arrested 2 new suspects, and with their freedom on the line, they might be ready to talk in exchange for lighter sentences. But why was Lil Ronnie targeted, and who put a price on his head? Let's break it all down. G. Ronnie's daughter's killers break their silence. With G. Ronnie and his little daughter dead, all family and fans could pray for was for the cops to nab the shooters that committed the gruesome murders. Surprisingly, the police have come through, naming and identifying the precise suspects who possibly pulled the trigger. Just 48 hours after the deadly shooting, the Forest Hill Police confirmed that 24-year-old Adonis Robinson and 21-year-old Jacoby Russell were deeply involved in orchestrating the crime. Due to the level of severity involved where a 5-year-old child was murdered, a judge issued capital murder warrants for the pair. So far, the authorities have pinned their native towns to Fort Worth while affirming that these culprits are still wanted. To show their eagerness to have these suspects in handcuffs, the police asked the public for help while emphasizing that the wanted men could barely exercise their confidence now. In the words of Forest Hill Police Chief David Hernandez, well, not long after this statement proving their commitment to the case, the Forest Hill Police Department recorded the arrest of the first suspect, Adonis Robinson. Robinson was arrested on Thursday following the commitment of the Texas Rangers as they tracked him down to his location. It appeared that Robinson wasn't new to cuffs, as he possessed a long-running history of violent crimes recorded by the police. At just 22, Robinson holds the title of a registered sex offender and possibly a gruesome murderer. Back in 2019, Robinson was arrested, and in no time, he was convicted for assaulting a woman who was walking along a trail close to Marine Creek Reservoir. Sources confirmed that finding 21-year-old Jacoby Russell seemed less stressful, as the alleged shooter reported to the station on Friday with a lawyer by his side. Russell's surrender was facilitated by this attorney, who worked hand in hand with the Forest Hill PD and the U.S. Marshals, the unit that arrested him with no hassle. According to the police, Russell is being held at the Tarrant County Lon Evans Correction Center. Both suspects are facing capital murder charges. However, Russell has more than that on his plate, as he has been slapped with an additional charge. Without going into much of the details, police say that he is accused of assaulting a pregnant woman. As for where and when that happened, it remains a mystery. What remains certain surrounding this case, however, is that these 2 suspects, if found guilty, they will be made to dance to the tune of their own music. In the meantime, the police are still trying to get them to talk and share details surrounding the violent murder of Lil Ronnie and his 5-year-old daughter, who was only a kindergartner. Russell and Robinson's crime sent cold shivers down the spines of eyewitnesses and even the police, who turned up at the crime scene moments after the double homicide. Lil Ronnie and his little daughter were spending father and daughter quality time in the 6,500 block of Forest Hill Drive, which is southeast of Rolling Hills Park and southwest of Lake Arlington, when the ultimate tragedy struck. In harrowing photos captured by TMZ, Lil Ronnie, a famous rapper in North Texas, was gunned down in broad daylight. The rapper, who was draped in a bright orange jumpsuit, was outside while his child sat inside the car in a car wash parking lot. Upon sighting the gunman, the concerned father sprinted across the parking lot of Slappy's car wash. Yet, this near escape plan only triggered his attackers, who followed him closely while opening fire. In the end, his assailants successfully decked him with bullets that sent him flying down. As for the shooters, it didn't matter who Lil Ronnie's company was. After all, the friend of an enemy is also an enemy, so it cost them nothing to kill his kid, Romani, who sat inside a maroon Challenger. Like with previous gang-related murders, the assailants wasted enough bullets on their victims and left the scene with the assurance that they had indeed killed their target. Upon completion of their crime, the duo shooters hurried back into a white Kia car and sped off the crime scene. Amid their disappearance, the scene of the murders had already been tainted with violence and grief. As for Lil Ronnie, he lost his life and that of his daughter at a time when he was simply trying to bond with the minor. Sadly, Romani got shot up few hours after celebrating her 5-year-old birthday. Following the gunshots and murders, the police were alerted to the crime scene. However, upon their arrival, they met a grieving crowd who couldn't comprehend the level of evil done against a young child. After some time, the authorities were able to bring some calm to the environs, and as expected, they opened up their investigation. The authorities found that the bullets had penetrated the victim's car shield. Once they got to the victims, they tried to perform life-saving measures, but sadly, the victims were pronounced dead. At the crime scene, the police discovered 30 bullet markers, all relieved by the gun of the assailants. As of now, more details about the crime scene are still developing, with the 2 shooters in police custody. However, the community, especially witnesses and family members, have been left to fear for their lives while grieving the profound loss. In a candid interview with Fox News, family representative Bishop Rodney McIntosh revealed a heartbreaking detail. Lil Ronnie had just regained custody of his daughter that very morning. Romani had been dropped off at the car wash just minutes before the senseless shooting. The 5-year-old was an active student in her elementary school where she loved cheerleading. She was a part of the Safari Sports Cheer Squad. According to McIntosh, this was a devastating loss for the mom. He said, "The mother wants everyone to know she is heartbroken and she is grieving," he said. "On behalf of the mother, I would ask them to do the right thing and come forward." Meanwhile, other family relatives have churned out nothing but good remarks concerning Lil Ronnie's parenting. Lil Ronnie, who leaves behind another 12-year-old, is described as a hands-on dad by another family member. This Instagram post further backs up the point about his commitment to fatherhood. Less than a month before the shooting, Lil Ronnie spent time with Romani and her friend whose dad was absent. In a slideshow of photos and videos shared, it presented Lil Ronnie as a considerate parent who tried to brighten the faces of his daughter and her friend. The caption went on to explain the story behind the whole thing. It read, "My baby girl couldn't stand the fact her friend was sad. This morning her daddy couldn't make it to donuts with daddy this morning, so you know we let her know it's okay too. Join us." Friends have also established their strong ties with the rapper who they say was harmless. According to Kendrick Wilson, a DJ at a local radio station, his relationship with Lil Ronnie dates back to 10 years ago. The pair had met in their early days in each other's careers, and they bonded. Wilson described his dead friend as a talented musician who had just worked with Soulja Boy. Wilson also confirmed that his friend was an ever-present dad who would never cancel or miss dates with his girls. Family and friends were not the only ones who grieved the death of the Texas rapper. Following Lil Ronnie's untimely death, fans and colleagues all shared their grief on social media, showing that they were connected to his music and personality. One person who had worked with Lil Ronnie wrote, "So sad about hood fame Lil Ronnie and his daughter. It was good working with you, Far FR." Another added, "R.I.P. hood fame Lil Ronnie and his daughter." On the other hand, Lil Ronnie and his daughter's death sparked an outrage in the community, who became more aware of the dangerous effects of gun violence. Hours after the deaths, leaders of North Texas called for an end to such crime. The double homicide is the 4th and 5th of such senseless killings reported in the city this year. At the forefront, cheering on this initiative to handle the gun violence, is the city's mayor, Stephanie Boardingham, and Melinda Hamilton, founder of Mothers of Murdered Angels. Boardingham echoed, "We can't keep doing this. We need to stop burying our children." Indeed, within a month, Forest Hill has recorded the deaths of more than 2 people. Last month, a person who worked at an auto sales business in Forest Hill had allegedly attacked people inside the company. This led to 2 deaths and 1 injury. Hours after the mass shooting, an innocent mother was gunned down by a stray bullet at the fence of her backyard. With these murders in mind, the community believed that it was time to drive out the madness and violence. Although the police are yet to understand the reason behind this recent Forest Hill shooting, fans have been left to wonder if it had anything to do with Lil Ronnie's ops. G. Ronnie possibly killed in gang feud. Lil Ronnie's friend Wilson, who DJ'd at a local radio station, had hinted that the rapper might have fallen victim to gang violence. According to the DJ, being a rapper like Lil Ronnie was hard, and in the parts of the city where they came from, violence was the norm. He later admitted, "Growing up in the inner city, you see death a lot. It sucks to say it, but it's normal." However, this was not a sentiment shared by members of the rapper's family. Following the violent homicides, the rapper's aunt, Stella Houston, categorically cleared her nephew of any wrongdoing. She even wondered who would bother to target him, as he was a family man who had no time for violence. She had said he was a family man and he was going around rapping, okay? Why would you target him? Amid this angelic notion of Lil Ronnie by his family members, fans and listeners of his music strongly believe that he was far from the saint many now think he is. The Reddit community has been buzzing with online sleuths who have successfully dug up lyrics to his songs that cited violence. Some of the lyrics read, "Pop up where he at about leaving flat. Hood fame gang, we rebels. Take that bitch up to another level. I know my time is coming. I've been talking to the devil." Other parts of his rap goes, "Hood fame Illuminati. I ride with AKs, no shotty. They took my nigga now. We going body for body. You ain't see tomorrow. You don't want to cross us? Could drive by. Me and my do walk-ups." Upon citing these very detailed lyrics, many Reddit commenters maintained that not only was Lil Ronnie violent, but he might have described his own murder. One person quizzed, "Wow, those lyrics are very close to how they walked him down and came back to finish the mission." Another commenter clarified, "Just using context here, but I think it means literally walking up to somebody to shoot them. The lead-in line implies doing a drive-by shooting is cowardly, and that they aren't scared to approach you on foot to kill you. That's my take anyway. A third person chimed in, "How can you be a family man yet have a career that revolves around being a violent hoodlum liable to get shot up at any moment, like when your 5-year-old child is with you?" On Reddit, Yoitz DMC shared that there is a clip of the actual shooting that details the horrendous murders. According to this poster, someone had said, "It's a video going around. I don't have it and won't ask for it. I can't stomach this." But they said it looked like he tried to get away from the car to save his baby girl, but they went back and got her too. They could have let that baby live. This is depressing. This post made fans double down on the fact that the killers must face justice. Meanwhile, it also stirred a debate between supporters and critics who believed that Lil Ronnie brought this nemesis down upon himself. One person wrote, "There's also a special place in hell for parents that involve themselves in bullshit that get their kid killed. Hopefully, that's not the case for him, but I've seen it happen too many times. R.I.P. little one." Another commenter who appeared to have a baby daddy shared, "This was the prime reason why I never allowed my daughter's father to take her anywhere in public. He was waist deep in his affairs. An excellent father, but I always knew he wouldn't be around for a long time. He was murdered in 2019. Others were deeply disturbed by the violence." One person expressed their frustration saying, "And still people will be hesitant to turn the shooter in because somehow being a snitch is considered worse than a child killer. The world's gone crazy." Another added, "This is why I never watched the news. Never heard of this guy before, and I wish this had never been posted. Now I know of some unlucky mother out there going through possibly the worst grief a human can experience. While the online spats would not bring back the dead, it is best to understand the reason behind Lil Ronnie and his 5-year-old being the target of such horrible violence. Before the killers were arrested, speculation ran wild. Several sources, including YouTuber Rashett the Hood journalist, pointed to Lil 6K as the one behind the hit. The theory gained traction because Lil 6K followed the typical script of rival rappers. After an op was taken out, he wasted no time boasting online, hinting at his involvement and celebrating the tragedy without remorse. Yet despite his boldness, many in the rap community weren't convinced. Fans believed that while he might have had a role in the situation, he wasn't the one who actually pulled the trigger. Instead, they spotlighted Lil CJ Casino, who had barely said a word after the murder. Words on the street are that Hood Fame and the casinos have been warring gangs for some time. As it has been with past murders, many believe that Lil Ronnie's location was leaked and he was surely attacked by some paid killers. Many believe Lil CJ Casino might hold key information that could crack the case, especially as old clips begin to resurface, hinting at details that may have been overlooked. In the video, Lil CJ Casino issues a strong warning to Lil Ronnie, telling him to back off Slappy's car wash where he was gunned down. In the same video, Lil CJ Casino taunts Hood Fame for being all mouth and no fist. He maintains that the crew has not been able to pull not one single dead ops. Lil CJ Casino claimed to be a killer who had bodies to his name. He goes, "As expected, this viral clip was met with a lot of reactions from fans who believed that Lil CJ Casino had done nothing but snitched on himself. Others simply believed that the ops had their eyes on that particular car wash and they had expected Lil Ronnie to show up." However, in the midst of all the speculations, one commenter pointed out that Lil CJ Casino, who did not specifically call out Lil Ronnie in his clips, was referring to Go Yayo, the rapper's friend. The person claimed, "He's not talking about Lil Ronnie. That video was about his Go Yayo beef." Now let's introduce Go Yayo. For those who don't know, Go Yayo is Lil Ronnie's buddy, and judging by this fan's theory, anyone who was warring with Go Yayo like Lil CJ Casino was doing would definitely war against his friend Lil Ronnie, but these are merely speculations. Another resounding remark buzzing in the streets is that Lil CJ Casino might not be in the know of the crime, and his comment about the car wash was issued at M03. M03, a Dallas C2I celebrity, had once talked about ops having set a bounty on his head. He goes, "Not too long after this comment, M03 suffered an attack on Interstate 35. This happened in 2020 when armed gunmen chased him down firing multiple shots that killed him. M03 and Lil CJ Casino were known to be pals, while the former beefed with Go Yayo, so it would make sense that Lil CJ Casino was warning his dear friend at the time. But this is all hearsays, all of which are yet to be proven. Regardless of the theories being coined, the truth remains that a little girl was caught up in an irredeemable situation that involved her dad. Unlike her father, who had already begun to etch his name in the history books doing what he loved, little Romani had barely made her mark, yet she will forever be remembered as a sweet soul who enjoyed her father's company. But when it comes to fatherhood, how much did Lil Ronnie truly understand? Which brings us to the next question. Who was Lil Ronnie? To Kedrick Wilson, he was a friend, an experienced rapper who might have been caught up in the violent skirmishes of the hood gangs. To the family, he was a father and a seasoned artist. To his daughter, he was a hero who turned up for another friend when her father was absent from donuts. But who really was this guy who got embroiled in such a violent situation? Let's take it back to the very beginning. Before he was G Dollar Lil Ronnie, he was Ronnie Smith. Following his involvement in music, the rapper engaged in street tales, saying it how it is through his raps. Oftentimes, he would tout about being the most sought-after gambler in the city. As the years passed, he became famous for tracks like Hood Fame Killamanti, WAPs, and Crash Pete and 4. Amid being a well-known rapper, Lil Rooney appeared to have taken a pause off music before his death, as his last single, titled Chase, was released in 2024. Although he ended up becoming a family man, Lil Ronnie's background was marred by dependence on the streets. During an honest talk with Say Cheese TV, the rapper recalled his early years and how he became acquainted with the streets at age 9, seeking survival. In his words, the interviewer wasted no time in asking what was on everybody's mind. He wanted to know the first time Lil Ronnie did something mischievous. Lil Ronnie confessed that his first experience was when he was in 5th grade. At that time, he became friends with a handful of other guys from the hood who introduced him to the South Side. His friend Fat T was credited for giving him a heads up on the street formulas and into the workings of the South Side. The years that followed proved to be tough, as Lil Ronnie lost his grandmother and had no one to parent him, as his own mother was out hustling on the street. Seeing that the only parent who could have been his shield was out doing drugs on the streets gave him a strong resolve. However, rather than look the other way, Lil Ronnie solidified his reason to be out on the street doing things he wanted, as this was a way to worry less about his mother's engagements. In the end, Lil Ronnie emerged successful with a career to brag about, which also yielded him some money to leave the hood. But before all of that, he did a lot of gambling, which contributed to the money he made. Without mincing words, he goes, Lil Ronnie took his gambling habits way too seriously that he went to a dice school where he didn't need to study hard to graduate with honors. The rapper confessed to getting enrolled in a dice school when he was about 7 or 8 years old. Recall that he even made music about being a good gambler in his track, Best Gambler Texas Ever Saw. In the same interview, Lil Ronnie claimed there were days he made 15 to 20K. However, on his not so favorable days, he went home with only 6K. While he managed to secure quite the wealth for himself due to his background and lifestyle, Lil Ronnie did little to keep all that money in. He spent it on addictions, including a drug known as lean. However, the rapper firmly established that he was not addicted to it. Not many fans were sold on the idea that Lil Ronnie made good money on gambling. In fact, they claimed that if indeed he cashed out that good, he would still be alive. But this might be a faulty argument, as we have seen rappers including Julio Fulio and Lil Jeff who fell to their deaths amid their fat pockets. In gang rivalry, it didn't matter who racked up the most cash. If you ran your mouth, there was a possibility that person would meet his Waterloo. As for Lil Ronnie, he wasn't entirely blameless. The Texas rapper did not hesitate to diss ops in his raps. Apart from speaking about how he could end a rival, Lil Ronnie also shamed an op for failing to kill another. In his song Real Ones, the rapper goes, Rashad know he a hoe, he posts a gun, but he won't kill none. I'm clumsy with this stick inside my hand cause I'ma spill some. But maybe it wasn't entirely his fault, and Lil Ronnie was only going by the rap sheets, which included dissing ops, rapping about violence, and touting about one's ability to subdue another. Sadly, Lil Ronnie was exposed to street life way too early. In his lifetime, he had already survived many street shootings between gangs. When speaking about an incident where he and Goyayo were targeted while exiting a show, the rapper emphasized, turns out that such a reputation was never going to end well. Today, Lil Ronnie is dead, and his friend Goyayo is behind bars over a gun case. Via a message from prison, Goyayo admitted that it was a bitter pill to swallow. He shared, life or death for you, brother. I'm dead inside. Y'all took my heart. If you found this clip interesting and wouldn't mind more eye-opening content into the lives of your favorite celebrities and rappers, click on the card showing on the screen.